Reporting live from the Palace Theater in Myrtle Beach, News Channel 15's Jim Heath.
Good evening. 30 minutes from now, perhaps the most important event for the Democratic candidates running for President of the United States. And they find themselves here in Myrtle Beach, behind me in the Palace Theater, for a showdown that could ultimately determine whether it will be Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton as the nominee for the Democratic Party.
Welcome to the Palace Theater here in Myrtle Beach.
It was just a few days ago that Senator Clinton asserted that she was the strongest candidate when it comes to fiscal responsibility. She says that the new programs that she proposes, she essentially can pay for. She says that you have failed in that regard in the tune of some $50 billion worth of new programs that you cannot account for. How do you respond to that charge?
What you said wasn't true. We account for every single dollar that we propose. Now, this, I think, is one of the things that's happened during the course of this campaign, that there's a set of assertions made by Senator Clinton as well as her husband that are not factually accurate. I think that part of what the people are looking for right now is somebody who's going to solve problems and not resort to the same typical politics that we've seen in Washington. That is something that I hear all across the country. When Senator Clinton or President Clinton says that I wasn't opposed to the war from the start, or says it's a fairy tale that I opposed the war, that is simply not true. When Senator Clinton or President Clinton asserts that I said that the Republicans had better economic policies since 1980, that is not the case. Now, the viewers aren't concerned with this kind of back and forth. What they're concerned about is who's actually going to help them get health care, how are they going to get their kids going to college, and that's the kind of campaign I've tried to run. I think that's the kind of campaign we should all try to run.
Well, I couldn't agree more, but I do think that your record and what you say does matter. And when it comes to a lot of the issues that are important in this race, it is sometimes difficult to understand what Senator Obama has said, because as soon as he is confronted on it, he says that's not what he meant. The facts are that he has said in the last week that he really liked the ideas of the Republicans over the last 10 to 15 years. And we can give you the exact quote. Now, I personally think they had ideas, but they were bad ideas. They were bad ideas for America. They were ideas like privatizing Social Security, like moving back from a balanced budget and a surplus to deficit and debt. And with respect to putting forth how one would pay for all of the programs that we're proposing in this campaign, I will be more than happy, Barack, to get the information, because we have searched for it. You have a lot of money that you want to put into foreign aid, a very worthy program. There is no evidence from your website, from your speeches, as to how you would pay for it. Now, why is this important? It's important because I think elections are about the future. But how do you determine what will happen in the future? Well, you have to look to the record. You have to look to what we say in campaigns and what we have done during our careers. And I want to be just very explicit about this. We are not, neither my campaign nor anyone associated with it, are in any way saying you did not oppose the war in Iraq. You did. You gave a great speech in 2002 opposing the war in Iraq. That was not what the point of our criticism was. It was after having given that speech, by the next year, the speech was off your website. By the next year, you were telling reporters that you agreed with President Bush in his conduct of the war. And by the next year, when you were in the Senate, you were voting to fund the war time after time after time. So it was more about the distinction between words and action. And I think that is a fair assessment for voters to make.
Senator, we're a little off topic. I have to let Senator Obama respond. Then Senator Edwards is going to come in as well.
Off topic,
but go ahead and respond, and then I want to get back to this issue that we're talking about, fiscal responsibility. But go ahead.
Let's talk about it. Hillary, I will be happy to provide you with the information about all the spending that we do. Now, let's talk about Ronald Reagan. What you just repeated here today is patent. Wait, no, Hillary, you just spoke.
I did not say anything about Ronald Reagan. You said two things. You talked about admiring Ronald Reagan, and you talked about the ideas of the Republicans. I didn't talk about Ronald Reagan.
We just had the tape. You just said that I complimented the Republican ideas. That is not true. What I said, and I will provide you with the quote, what I said is that Ronald Reagan was a transformative political figure because he was able to get Democrats to vote against their economic interests to form a majority to push through their agenda, an agenda that I objected to because while I was working on those streets, watching those folks see their jobs shipped overseas, you were a corporate lawyer sitting on the board of Walmart. I was fighting these fights. But I want to be clear. So I want to be clear. What I said had nothing to do with their policies. I spent a lifetime fighting against Ronald Reagan's policies. But what I did say is that we have to be thinking in the same transformative way about our Democratic agenda. We've got to appeal to independents and Republicans in order to build a working majority to move an agenda forward. That is what I said. Now, you can dispute that, but let me finish. Hillary, you went on for 2 minutes. Let me finish. The irony of this is that you provided much more fulsome praise of Ronald Reagan in a book by Tom Brokaw that's being published right now, as did Bill Clinton in the past. So these are the kinds of political games that we are accustomed to. I'm sorry.
Well, wait a minute. Just a minute now.
Senator Edwards, let them wrap up, and then I'm going to come to you.
I just want to clarify. I want to clarify the record. Wait a minute.
Wait a second, Senator Edwards, hold on. There has been a specific charge leveled against Hillary Clinton, so she can respond. Then I'll bring in Senator Edwards.
I just want to be sure.
We got a long time to go. You'll have a good opportunity.
We're just getting warmed up. Now, I just want to be clear about this. In an editorial board with the Reno newspaper, you said two different things because I have read the transcript. You talked about Ronald Reagan being a transformative political leader. I did not mention his name.
Your husband did.
Well, I'm here. He's not.
Okay, well, I can't tell who I'm running against sometimes.
I think we both have very passionate and committed spouses who stand up for us, and I'm proud of that. But you also talked about the Republicans having ideas over the last 10 to 15 years.
I didn't say they were good ones.
Well, you can read the context of it.
Well,
it certainly
I didn't
came
say
across.
They were good ones.
Well, it certainly came across in the way that it was presented as though the Republicans had been standing up against the conventional wisdom with their ideas. I'm just reacting to the fact, yes, they did have ideas, and they were bad ideas, bad for America. And I was fighting against those ideas when you were practicing law and representing your contributor, Resco, in his slum landlord business in inner city Chicago.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Exchange between Clinton and Barack Obama went on for quite some time. They sniped at each other probably 2 or 3 major times throughout the 2-hour debate. And again, we can't underscore the reason why that is. Barack Obama now has about a 3 or 4 point lead here. If he can win Saturday here in South Carolina, the Obama campaign believes that will propel him to a massive, major victory in Super Tuesday, where he can overwhelm the Clinton forces, if you will, and go on to become the nominee. For Hillary Clinton, she knows if she can repeat what she did in New Hampshire and South Carolina, it's very unlikely that Obama can rise up on Super Tuesday and take that nomination. There are a lot of Democrats who are very, very concerned about the fact that former President Bill Clinton is beginning to act as the Axeman, as some Democrats are calling him, going after Barack Obama on behalf of his wife. We heard from all 3 campaigns tonight, including Mark Penn, who is the senior strategist for Hillary Clinton.
Well, he's no Axeman. I think that Senator Clinton is running her campaign. She's talking about the issues, how we end the war, how we have a new energy future, how we do something about the economy. And I think that President Clinton has been a tremendous asset throughout this campaign. He raised the issue of Senator Obama's votes on the war and his actual record on the war. And as Senator Obama said himself, records are fair game in a campaign. What do you think?
It was out of the mix. They were fighting over which one was a slumlord or which one was a Walmart board member, while he was fighting for the middle class and for the voiceless and to end poverty in the country and fighting for working people. I think that made clear in this debate. He really took it to him, I thought.
Well, I believe that the candidates need to pull their own weight. The candidates need to be the ones having interchanges with each other, not the candidate spouses. And that, it does concern me a great deal. So every candidate has to stand on his or her own 2 feet, and that's the only fair way to do.
You have history for the Democratic Party really on the line. Hillary Clinton, former First Lady, senator from New York, 2-term senator from New York. Now she's in position to be the Democratic nominee, perhaps the first woman president in the history of our nation. Then on the other side, you have Barack Obama, little-known senator, spent little time in the Illinois state legislature, went on to win a Senate seat just in 2004. Now he's on the verge, very charismatic, idealistic young man on the verge of being the Democratic nominee. You literally have history at stake here, and both of these candidates know they're getting down to the final wire here. They both need a win in South Carolina, and that's why this debate in this Palace Theater tonight is going to be talked about for the rest of the week.